Jonathan Lee Riches Investigates. I am at the Taco Bell in Charlotte, North Carolina. Henry Louis Wallace, North Carolina's most notorious serial killer, used to work at this Taco Bell. He is known as the Taco Bell Strangler. This guy right here. So this guy is pure evil. What he did from 1990, around that time, to 1994, multiple women in this area he murdered. African-American women. He was an African-American serial killer. It's like 9 African-American women from this general area that he murdered over the course of years. And it took authorities a long time to say, hey, there's a serial killer on the loose, as people were getting killed. But he worked here. He's known as the Taco Bell Strangler. And he lived right up here. And I'm going to take you up to where he lived in the Granville Apartments at one point. He also worked at Bojangles. He worked in fast food. He was in the military, originally from South Carolina. Let me just spin the camera around. Taco Bell Strangler. Busy street. A lot of these victims that he killed, like, they were friends of his friends. This guy's a wild dude. He's on death row in North Carolina. Probably will get the DP. Sad. Sick. So this was the stomping grounds of Wallace. He used to live in the apartments next block over, which I will take you to. Worked at this Taco Bell. He was ultimately arrested on March 13th, 1994. For 12 hours, he confessed to the murders of 10 women in the Charlotte area. He described in detail the women's appearances, how he RAPED'd them, robbed them, and KILLED'd them, and spoke about his crack cocaine addiction. So he had an addiction, he claims himself. Over the next 2 years, he had trial, his trial was delayed due to the choice of venue, DNA evidence from murdered victims, and jury selections. Eventually, proceedings began in September 1996. On January 7th, 1997, Wallace was found guilty of 9 murders. On January 29th, he was sentenced to 9 death sentences. 9 people. On June 5th, 1998, Wallace married a former prison nurse, Rebecca Torres, in a ceremony that was held next to the execution chamber where he has been scheduled to die at. Since his conviction, Wallace has made several appeals in an attempt to overturn his death sentences. He stated his confessions have been coerced and his constitutional rights have been violated. In 2000, North Carolina Supreme Court upheld the death sentences. His appeal to the United States Supreme Court was denied in 2001, and in 2005, Superior Court Judge Charles Lamb rejected a further appeal to overturn his convictions and 9 death sentences. So this was his stomping grounds. This is where he preyed on his victims. It was it brought shock to the African American community in Charlotte that this dude was able to run around this long. And it took a while for them to piece together that it was an actual serial KILLER. Wallace is originally from South Carolina, killed his first victim down there, made his way to Charlotte. Just a wild case, folks. Wild, wild case. So this is it. This is where he lived at one point, the Granville Apartments. Just a block away from the Taco Bell. Hopefully you got some information out of this guy. Pure evil. Why did he do it? Why did he do it? Let me know your thoughts I am out, boots on the ground, JLR, covering another tragedy. Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank God they got him off the streets before he could do more damage. This was a long time ago. We're talking almost 30 years ago. So we will talk soon. I'm JLR Investigates.